In this demo, we're going to look at how to install Windows Server Update Services, or WSUS, on a Windows server. We're going to start by adding a role. We want to click Add Roles and Features. We can skip this intro page. We're going to have a role-based or feature-based installation, and click Next. We only have one server here, so that's the one we'll work with. Click Next. We'll scroll down and check Windows Server Update Services. And right away, we get a pop-up telling us we also need these other features. We'll click to add the features and then click Next. Now we'll scroll down again and see if everything looks good. And it does, so click Next. Microsoft recommends that you secure it with an SSL certificate, but you can add that later to secure the website with SSL. We're going to leave WID connectivity and WSUS services selected. We'd use this SQL database option if we were going to store the updates, but we're not going to do that. Now it asks us to give it a local path where it's actually going to store the updates. If you didn't have enough space on your server to store the update files, or if you had a situation where clients were better off connecting to the internet for updates, we could actually uncheck this box. The clients would then check in WSUS for permission to download the updates because we're not storing the updates on the server. They'd then pull them down directly from the Windows Update website. We're going to go ahead and store the updates on the server. I'm going to put them in a folder called C:\WSUS. You want to make sure that wherever you put them is formatted with NTFS and has at least 6 GB of free space. But I'd plan for quite a bit more because your update files could become quite large. Click Next to continue. Now we need to confirm that everything's correct. It's going to install WSUS and IIS. I'm going to check the box to restart if needed. Confirm this by clicking Yes and then Install. Okay, WSUS is installed, so I'll close this and then go up and launch the post-installation task. We'll wait for this to complete. Okay, that's done. Once this is complete, you want to go ahead and open WSUS and run the configuration wizard. The first time you open this, the wizard launches automatically. There are a couple of things shown here to be aware of when setting up a Windows Update server. First, make sure the firewall is set up to allow clients to connect to the server. If it's the first WSUS server, make sure it can connect to Microsoft Update. If it's a downstream server, make sure it can connect to the upstream server. Make sure you have any credentials for a proxy server, if you're using one, in your environment. Click Next. You can opt whether or not to join the Microsoft Update Improvement Program. We're not going to do that, so we're just going to uncheck that box and hit Next. This is where you choose where you're going to synchronize WSUS. Because we're the first server, we're going to synchronize for Microsoft Update. If I was the downstream server, I'd click here. I'd put in the name of the upstream server and whichever port I'm going to use. 8530 is the default. And whether or not I'm going to use SSL. If this is going to be a replica server, I'd check this box here. Replica servers automatically get the updates that are approved at the upstream server. There's no approval going on with the downstream server. If I leave this unchecked, updates will be approved at the upstream server. Again, because this is the first WSUS server, we're going to synchronize for Microsoft. If I have a proxy server in my environment, I'd go ahead and put that information in here. I'm going to select and let it start downloading updates. Anything you choose in the wizard can be modified later. You need to go through the wizard at least once to get WSUS up and running. Let's start synchronizing by clicking on Start Connecting. This process can take quite a bit of time. It's finished now, so let's click Next. Now we need to choose which languages we're going to support. We're going to leave it on English. You also can select which products you're going to use to distribute using WSUS. I'm going to leave this alone and continue. You can see which types of updates this can download. You can see by default it's just going to download critical, definition, security, and upgrades. You can also pull down drivers, service packs, tools, and updates. Okay, select Next. You can set it up to synchronize manually whenever you specify, or you can have it synchronized automatically, however many times per day you want. Click Next. I'm going to let it begin the initial synchronization. Click Next and then Finish. That's it for the wizard. Now let's look at options on the left here, and we'll work our way up the list. Pretty much anything you set up during the wizard, you can change using options. This is basically everything from the wizard. If you want to change just one item from the initial setup, you can do that. Or if you like, you can come down here to the bottom and run the configuration wizard again and start over. Up here we have reports. You're not going to have a lot of reports, but basically reports show you which computers checked in and whether or not they successfully downloaded the updates. It's not able to give you a detailed inventory of which updates are on which computers. It just shows you information about how WSUS tried to distribute the updates. Synchronizations will show me when synchronizations occurred and whether they were successful. Right now, we only have one synchronization currently running. Okay, let's look at downstream servers. If I did have downstream servers, they'd be in here, but I don't have any running, so this is blank. I can organize my computers into groups for the purpose of rolling out updates. You can see, by default, there's really just all computers. And under there, I have a group called unassigned computers. But right now, when computers contact the WSUS server and say, I'm your client, I need some updates, they're going to drop into unassigned computers. You'd want to create groups because there will be times you don't want updates going out to certain computers until you've tested them, or for a variety of other reasons. I'll go up to updates. The updates aren't going to go out to the clients until you approve them. So maybe you have a situation where clients have updates and they're missing some. Or perhaps you forgot to approve them. When I want to approve an update, I right-click it and hit Approve. Since this is a brand new installation, I don't have any updates in here. I'd also specify which groups I'm going to approve. If you don't specify a group, it'll fall into unassigned computers. That's a basic overview of setting up Windows Server update services. The next thing you do is go into your group policy and create a policy for the updates to push them out to your clients. That's it for this demo. In this demonstration, we looked at how to install Windows Server update services on a Windows server. Then, we ran the configuration wizard and looked at various options after the server has been configured.